Today we are talking about chapter 11.6, and it's all about volume. We're going to start talking about what volume is. Okay, we're going to spend the next couple lessons talking about volume. And today, we're not talking about the formula for volume. We're not talking about how to find volume. Today, your learning goal is to be able to understand what volume is. And so your learning goal is to be able to count unit cubes that fill a solid figure in order to find the volume of that figure. Okay? Let's first talk about the problem of the day. It says for each solid figure, write the fraction of unit cubes that are shaded. So in the first solid figure, how many cubes are there all together? Total, how many cubes are there? How many unit cubes are there, Marcus?
There's
9. So when there's 9 altogether, that means 9 must be the denominator. How many of those 9 cubes are shaded, Adam?
1.
So 1 out of 9 cubes are shaded in the first solid figure. Okay. What about the second solid figure? How many unit cubes are there all together? Adriana? 8. Yep. So that means 8 is the total number. And how many of those 8 are shaded, Soham? 2. So 2/8 of the cubes are shaded. Can we simplify that fraction?
Yes.
Daniel? 1/4. So we can say 1/4 of those unit cubes are shaded. Excellent. Let's also talk about the exit ticket from yesterday because several of us had some fabulous fails, which is wonderful. Okay? It says Melissa makes a solid figure by stacking 1 cube on top of a row of 2 cubes on top of a row of 3 cubes, as you see in the picture there. Yes? Then she's like, oh, I don't like that arrangement. So I'm going to rearrange the cubes to form a rectangular prism. Is her first figure a rectangular prism? No. So how many cubes does she use all together to make her rectangular prism? 6. Okay. So are there a couple different ways she could arrange her rectangular prism? Could her rectangular prism look something like... In this first solid rectangular prism here, what is the length? 3 units. Okay, so the length is 3 units. What is the width? 2 units. And what is the height? 1. Okay. Lots of us put that the height was also 2. Why is that not correct? Siddharth?
Well, if you try making a cube
What is the length of this rectangular prism? 6 units. What's the width?
1.
What's the height?
1.
Excellent. So today, as we said, we're going to talk about what volume is, okay? It says you can find the volume of a rectangular prism by counting the unit cubes. Volume, and I want you to write this down, volume is the measure of the amount of space a solid figure occupies and is measured in cubic units. Okay, so volume is how much space a 3-dimensional figure takes up. Does Karan take up some volume in this room? Yeah. Does this water bottle take up some volume? Totally. Does this stylus take up some volume?
Yeah.
Volume is just the amount of space something takes up. When we talk about area, what kind of units do we use? Siddharth?
We only need the width and length.
We're measuring the length and the width to find the volume. So how many dimensions do we use?
2 dimensions.
2 dimensions. So what kind of units do we use when we talk about area? Matthew?
For area?
Yeah.
Length and width.
And so what kind of units do we use? Like I say, the
we
top
can
of
use
this
inches,
desk
we can
is
use-
how many? Do we use inches?
No, centimeters.
Or we could use centimeters, we could use inches, but we don't just use plain centimeters or plain inches.
Squares.
What do we use, Arushi?
We use square centimeters or square.
Right. When we talk about area, we measure it in square units because we use 2 dimensions, the length and the width, to find the area. When we talk about volume, we're talking about 3-dimensional figures. So how many dimensions are involved? 3. So because there's 3 different dimensions involved, we measure volume in cubic units. Everyone say cubic units. Each unit cube has a volume of 1 cubic unit. So this, hold on one second. This unit cube has a volume of how much? 1. Everyone say it together. What about this one? This one? Okay. So this rectangular prism is made up of how many unit cubes? 8 unit cubes. And has a volume of 8 cubic units, because if this one is 1 cubic unit and this is 2 cubic units, 3 cubic units, 4 cubic units, 5 cubic units, 6 cubic units, 7 cubic units, and of course finally a total of 8. What's the units? Okay. Okay. There are 5 unit cubes in the length of my first layer. How many unit cubes are there in the width? How many centimeter cubes are there in the width of my first layer? Karan? 5, okay. And how high, how many layers of blocks did we put in? How high is it? Thomas? 1. The height is 1. So how many centimeter cubes are used to fill that base?
25.
How many centimeter cubes did I use altogether to completely fill the base of my rectangular prism? Claire? 25 cubes, okay. Now, did I find the total volume or how much space altogether this whole entire rectangular prism takes up?
No.
I'll have to make more layers of 25 blocks, won't I? Okay, now let's see how many more layers I will need. In one layer, how many are there? Joseph? There's 25 cubes, unit cubes, in each layer. Thank you. How many layers of cubes do we need to fill the entire prism? Soham? 5. So if it takes 5 layers of 25 cubes to fill the entire prism, how many cubes do we need all together to fill the entire rectangular prism? Adriana? It would take 125 cubes to fill the entire prism.
25 times 5 is 125.
Why did Adriana do 25 times 5 in order to find how many cubes it would take all together? Go ahead and turn and talk to your table group. Because there are 5 layers of 25 cubes, in order to find how many cubes total, we would do 5 times 25. Could we, of course, count them all? Because our learning goal is to count these unit cubes. Could we count them all?
Yes.
But could we use what we know about math and repeated addition to simplify our life? Excellent. Because volume includes 3 dimensions, a word for 3 in math is cube. Okay, just like a word for 2 in math is square. Okay, when you find a number squared, you're multiplying it 2 times. When you find a number cubed, you're multiplying 3 things. Okay, so volume is measured using cubic units, and we can abbreviate cubic by writing CU. So it could be cubic cm. What does that mean? What kind of centimeters? If it's CU/cm, what kind of centimeters is it? Okay, or we can do CUIN, which stands for? What kind of inches? Okay, or we could do CUFT, which stands for? Okay,